Hey, it's Eric G from the Around the House show. Elevate your grilling game with the all-new Monument Grill's Omni Pro series. The Eminence 405 is packed with cutting-edge features, blending elegance with expert-level performance. 4 powerful burners plus a side searing station deliver 60,000 BTUs of precision heat. The Clearview lid lets you keep an eye on your masterpiece without losing heat. Stay in control with the smart Bluetooth app, track your temps, set timers, and get alerts from anywhere. The LED touch panel ensures effortless monitoring, even in bright daylight. Temperature sensing lights keep you grilling anytime, anywhere. This grill is built to last, and it's also backed by a 10-year limited warranty. The Eminence 405, where power, style, and innovation meet. Check it out and order your new grill at monumentgrills.com. That's monumentgrills.com.
It's Around the House. On this episode of Around the House, happy 37th birthday to Around the House. It's also our annual spring home maintenance episode of those things you should be taking care of around the house this spring.
If you want to get the most life out of it, maintain that. So when was the last time you had your AC or your heat pump serviced? That's a big one. I want to see them out every year, because I tell you what, every time I've had a major breakdown, it was because I didn't have it serviced, and it was something that they could have easily caught when they were doing their checks the year before. So that maintenance is really key when you're doing this. So seriously, guys, get on a maintenance plan too. Sometimes if you do this correctly, if you talk to the right professional and find out what brand you have, if you have a Train or Carrier or whatever brand you're looking at, get a hold of one of their people that is one of their best service people out there. See if they were the installer, and if not, find the installation company that did it. If they're a licensed place, get on their service plan. If you get on their service plan, usually that will save you money.
When it comes to remodeling or renovating your home, there is a lot to know, and we have got you covered. This is Around the House. This hour is brought to you by Monument Grills. If you are needing a new barbecue this spring, check the best value in barbecue, where you get more for less at monumentgrills.com.
Welcome to Around the House show. This is where we help you get the most out of your home through information and education. Thanks for joining me today. Since we are into spring, we are going to talk about our annual spring home maintenance checklist. This is that project where you can walk around your house, get everything ready from that winter damage to, well, being able to survive the summer. So this is a really cool list. And if you want to have a copy of it, feel free to send me an email over to aroundthehouseonline.com, and I will send you out a PDF copy via email. All right. First off here, we're going to talk about an inside and outside kind of thing. And this is really where we're going to go around and make sure that we've got all that stuff taken care of for spring. It's a good time to do it. In some parts of the country, it's already 80 degrees. Some, it's only 40 or less. So take advantage of this when you can on that day when you have that good weather outside, or if you just want to tough it out, knock yourself out. Outside, one of the first things I want you to do is, if you have an HVAC system out there, as you're walking around, make sure that you clean all the leaves and other debris around that outside air conditioner or heat pump. And if you're using a cover on it, make sure and get that off of there, so that way it's good to go. It's also a good time to get out there and clean that thing off. If it's got lots of junk in it, a lot of dirt, what I like to do is take my leaf blower out there and blow it out carefully. Don't go on turbo mode, but just get in there and stand back and let the wind go and blow it out. You'll be surprised sometimes how much stuff you get out of there. Now, if you are going to be we'll talk about this later, but if you are getting your annual service, they will come out and clean the coils and usually do that. But that's a good thing to get out there with that leaf blower and blow it away. Now, the other thing is too with this, I want to keep all the bushes and shrubs and stuff a couple feet away from this thing so it has proper airflow. So if you missed trimming last year, go ahead and go around it, get that trimmed up, keep it so it's nice and accessible, because if it gets overgrown, you're going to reduce the ability for that thing to transfer heat. So you just want to have great airflow around it. I'm not a big fan of the covers out there, and there are covers you can put around these that I'm seeing sold in the net, but make sure you talk with your HVAC professional, because that could cause damage to your system or have it not work as efficiently, because it's going to trap that hot air near it, or cold air, depending on what season it is and if you're on a heat pump or an air conditioner. So that's one of those things that you really want to make sure is working correctly. So before you get trying to make that thing look beautiful, just make sure you're not doing it harm by putting a cover over the top of that. Now, the other thing is clean all the debris out of all the window wells, storm drains, gutters, downspouts, downspout extenders. And this is a good time to take a look. If you have downspouts coming out of your gutters, I want to make sure that those things aren't dropping next to the ground. They want to be going at least 10 feet out into the yard, preferably through a below grade storm drain system and out downhill. Because what happens is if that water is running down next to the foundation, that will cause foundation damage down the road. And so we don't want to see that happen. And it can also fill up crawl spaces and basements with water. So make sure those gutter downspouts are running at least 10 feet away. So just want to get those into that system so they work really well. And that can be a great Saturday project. All you need to do is call before you dig, make sure you know where all the utility lines are, and you're going to use, what I like to do is use PVC or ABS, get it underground. ABS is not really rated for sunlight, so you want to have it come into a tube, go underground, and you can bury that, get the right slope, have it either drain into a dry well that you can build your own or get it down near the curb. And just make sure you're following your local code. Sometimes they won't let you drain that right into the street or across the sidewalk. And across the sidewalk can be bad because if you have winter there where it freezes up, you could be icing up that sidewalk and causing a hazard out on your sidewalk that traditionally you're responsible for. So be careful with that. That's a big one right there. Now, here's the other thing too, is trim back overhanging limbs on trees. So make sure they're trimmed out. Make sure that there's nothing overgrown around the house. And really, if you're in a wildfire area or an area where you're densely populated, where a house fire could start next door and come over, you really want to keep any of those shrubs and bushes away from the house by 4 or 5 feet, 5 feet preferably. Now, most people across the front of their house will be 3 feet, but just keep in mind, if that's a shrub that could burn easily, then if it's within 5 feet, that could transfer fire over to your house. So the trees and stuff that are nearby, make sure they're at least 5 feet away. Make sure that's good. Those ground level plantings, just make sure that you got all the dry stuff out of there and that you've got that really well and thought out. Anything that's up against the house like that will cause problems down the road. And it's a good time to get it now in the spring before they get any bigger. And it's something to keep an eye out on. So those are big ones right there. And then all the windows and doors, check the weather stripping, caulking, all that stuff around there. Now is a great time to get that taken care of and making sure that those are working correctly. Maybe you have to get that caulking out. Maybe you had a rough winter and that caulking around the windows and doors and stuff is cracked. Now's the time to get that on a nice sunny day. If you get out there with one of the good caulks, you can even, some of them can be easily used in the rain even, but most of those are a silicone base, which means you can't paint them. So make sure that you're using the right product for outside. I like using, if you're going to be painting it, I like using the Big Stretch by Sashco. That stuff works really well. And it's really keeps it from cracking out because it'll expand more than the other brands, which means that's what happens when caulking fails, when it expands too much. And that's where that crack happens because it tears it basically as things move back and forth. And you see a lot of that movement with wood, with vinyl siding. Any of those things that expand and contract is where you have those issues. Now, here's another one here that can be a really big deal. Clean the screens on roof vents and louvers and make sure that they're working. What can happen, especially in those soffit vents, is if you get 4 or 5 coats of paint, those thin screens can get clogged up. And that's going to be a problem because now you're reducing the airflow going up into the house. So especially in the summertime when you want to keep that heat out of that attic space and you want to have balanced heat coming in and out, make sure that those things are working correctly. And if you've got too much on there and if it's a metal screen, just get up there with some paint remover or just get up there and scrape it out. Make sure that if it's, depending on what it is, if it's more of a window screen material, you could eat that up if it's nylon, but if it's metal, you can maybe do something with it. If not, get up there and replace that vent material and put new stuff in there because that will save you. You want to have balanced airflow, so the amount of air coming in at the bottom needs to be the same going out the top. And that's one of the problems that we do see out there, guys. When we're putting in attic ventilation and stuff, you'll put in those big attic vent fans up there, and they just go, oh, I'm going to put it on my gable ends, and I'm going to do that. But the problem is you didn't put enough air intake in, and that's a big part of the project that we've talked about on the show before, but it's an important one to make sure that you've got dialed in. So make sure those are good. And those screens, if they're tore up, that's where rodents, wasps, hornets, pests, and even things bigger get into that. And you want to make sure that those are dialed in. And if you're in a wildfire area as well, make sure that you're using some of the newer ones out there that actually are spark arresting type screens. They make them now that you can order in that are designed for wildfires and that kind of thing. So that's a common way for wildfires to happen, is that they're blowing those embers around. They'll blow up through those vents, and all of a sudden they're down in a place that can burn. So we want to make sure and keep that from happening. All right, guys, when we come back, more on our spring home maintenance checklist just as soon as Around the House returns. Hey, it's Eric G. from the Around the House show. Elevate your grilling game with the all-new Monument Grill's Omni Pro series. The Eminence 405 is packed with cutting-edge features, blending elegance with expert-level performance. 4 powerful burners plus a side-searing station deliver 60,000 BTUs of precision heat. The Clearview lid lets you keep an eye on your masterpiece without losing heat. Stay in control with the smart Bluetooth app, track your temps, set timers, and get alerts from anywhere. The LED touch panel ensures effortless monitoring, even in bright daylight. Temperature sensing lights keep you grilling anytime, anywhere. This grill is built to last, and it's also backed by a 10-year limited warranty. The Eminence 405, where power, style, and innovation meet. Check it out and order your new grill at monumentgrills.com. That's monumentgrills.com. Hey guys, it's Eric G, and I have a special offer for you. Do you want to get the podcast a couple days early? How about extended content that isn't in the typical podcast? Maybe you want to check out all the back episodes of the show. And I got a special deal for the first 10 days are free. I want to personally invite you to be an Around the House insider. For about $4 a month, you can get exclusive extended episodes, early access to the weekend show, and exclusive access to me, Eric G, for project questions or comments. Check on the link on your podcast player in the show notes, or head to aroundthehouseonline.com and look for the join here button. Make sure and sign up today. As always, thanks for tuning in to Around the House.
What's up? This is Sticks Adenia.
And Satchel from Steel Panther. And you are listening to
Around the House with Eric G.
Yeah.
We love Eric G, and you should too.
Welcome back to the Around the House show. This is where we help you get the most out of your home through information and education. Hey, if you're new to the show, welcome. We've been talking about our spring home maintenance checklist and a little bit about me before we jump into that. I have 30 years in the design and construction industry in residential remodeling and new construction out there. So I am a certified kitchen designer. I've got 30 years under my belt doing that. I've run everything from new home building companies to cabinet shops to, again, even getting into tons and tons of remodeling. Doesn't matter if it's a $300,000 home that is an entry-level one in a suburban area or a $20 million home. I have worked on them all, including high-rises. So that is my background, and I'm really in on trying to help you do this right and save money on any of these projects that you're tackling. So we've been talking about the spring home maintenance checklist here, and we're just going through the stuff on the outside that you should be doing. And last time we were talking here of cleaning screens on roof vents and louvers. And the next one here is an important one. Seek and destroy early signs of bird or stinging insect nests in those key spots like the eaves, ledges, and stuff. And I tell you what, guys, this is a big one. I'm on the hunt around my house because I was getting ready last fall to work on a project here around my house. And boy, those yellow jackets got me good. I was out digging a post hole to do a segment on putting together a fence and putting in a small fence, how to do it with cedar. And that went completely sideways. So I was about 6 strikes in with the post hole digger, digging out this post hole. And all of a sudden, it was about 55, 60 degrees outside. It was in the morning. And I felt something under my arm. Yep, that was the first one coming up under my shirt and got me underneath my arm. And then I got hit with about 15 more of them. They were in my hair, up my shirt, on my arms. I was covered in these things. And so I ended up running into the garage and ripped my shirt off. Julie was here, my wife, which I was happy with because I yelled for her to grab a comb because I had 4 of them stuck in my hair. And in about 45 seconds, I got stung about 25 or 30 times. I couldn't count all the ones in my hair because there were so many next to each other. We were guessing at that point. But that was a quick trip to the hospital. And that doc there got me all lined up with some good. They hit me with a steroid that counteracted that and got me on some medications to stop the itching and stuff. And boy, for the first 24 hours there, I did not feel awesome. So it's a great time, especially when it's cold outside, to go out and make sure that you've got those taken care of. And do it safely. And if it looks like something that's out of your control, this is right when you call in the professional. Let them come out, get in their bee, wasp, hornet suit, get out there, take care of it, and make it go away, because that could be a severe health hazard. If I would have been badly allergic to that, guess what? That could have been a game changer for me right there, or a game ender. So these are things that I want you to make sure, and maybe bring in a pro if it's something that's above your pay grade. Because I tell you what, those things, even when it's cool outside, are faster than you are. And I learned that the hard way. Mine were actually camping out I have a lot of ferns here in the Pacific Northwest, like we do. And I've got forest ground, and they were living right smack dab in the middle of a fern plant. And that was out in this little wild area, right next to where I was putting that little fence in. And from now on, I'm going to be doing a lot more looking for those things, because they get you good. So the next one here is repair any weather damage, holes, cracks, anything like that on the roof, siding, trim, or windows. And it's a great time to get up on that roof if you can. And if not, bring in that roof professional to come take a look. If you're not a person that likes to get on the roof, that's okay. If it's 2 stories or hard to get up there, you don't have a flat place to put a ladder, or quite frankly, you're just not comfortable with heights, I recommend every year or 2 having a roofing professional get up there, inspect it, make sure that they come in and weave any damaged shingles, any hail damage, any roof damage, any damage up there, and make sure that all the seals and all that stuff get dialed in, are ready to go. Because sometimes a tree branch or rodents or even hail or wind can really do some damage out there, and it's in a spot you might not see. And that can be really expensive, because you don't usually find that until it starts damaging stuff in the ceiling. That usually means you've got a bigger problem, because it's already gone through all the insulation, it's gone through the drywall, and now you're starting to see it. So that can be kind of a spendy fix right there if you're not careful. So it's always good to have that done. And if they need to do any cleaning and stuff, it's a good time to do it. It's a good time to do that kind of thing. So next one up, if you have a wood-fired chimney, make sure and have it cleaned and checked if you didn't do it in the fall. And again, this is really a chimney sweep type situation where you want to send them to go get this taken care of. Get them up there, get it dialed in, and you'll be good. Because the last thing I want to see is a creosote fire or some damage. Maybe they need to repoint that chimney up there if it's brick. Maybe you've got a rust hole through a metal one. These are all things you want to get taken care of, because damage is pretty bad on that stuff. And I've seen a great example. My brother and I have been working on this house that we've got out in Cannon Beach that we're jamming on for projects. And he saw a little bit of it in a couple weeks ago in Around the House Northwest in the TV show, and that wall that we reframed. But that house had been basically abandoned for about, 15 years. No one had been living in it for 15 years. In Cannon Beach, if you live there and you're listening on the radio, this was known as the Blue Tarp House there. And when we took out the gas furnace and opened up the walls behind it, you really couldn't see where the gas furnace was going. But that gas furnace, where the exhaust came out of the back and into the chimney that was unlined, that had all rotted away. And so basically that gas duct was putting carbon monoxide directly into the house. So these are things you want to make sure that are dialed in, because that's the last thing you need is any health issues like that, because that is one of those situations that can go from bad to deadly. So just make sure you've got that taken care of. And it's a good time to go outside if you're in a freezing area, if you've got that insulation around your faucet covers. If you're done with the freezing stuff, go ahead and take those out and remove those covers. Now, I'm not saying leave the hoses on there, because if you do get a springtime cold streak and it gets down into the 20s and you got your hose connected, that could actually freeze up even one of the frost-free ones. So until it gets into the warmer areas where you're not even getting into the lower 40s, you're staying nice and warm, that's when I would start worrying about not having to take that hose off of there. So now is the time just to be careful, because in most of the country, those little cold streaks can come in and cause some damage, and I don't want to see you have to go back and do some repairs there. And so once you start getting into that dry time when it's ready to turn on the sprinkler system, it's a great time to do it. Take some time and turn that system on. If you have to have any of the backflow preventers tested, get that scheduled and make sure that some areas have to have those and they have to have them scheduled. So it's one of those things that every few years or every year they want to see that thing tested to make sure it's working properly so you don't contaminate the water supply. So that's a big one right there. So make sure that's taken care of. And turn them on, get them adjusted. Make sure that you don't have any trees and bushes that have gotten in the way. Maybe you need to move a sprinkler head. Now's a great time to do it when it's nice outside. And if you're not using the sprinklers yet, at least you can get them going. I would sure look as well at a smart system for those sprinklers. If you don't have a smart timer system, it can save you a ton of money on water if you're paying for water. So take your time and go through it there and get that dialed in, because I tell you what, these new smart systems can save you 30 or 40% water pretty quickly, because they're only going to water when it needs it, not just every day when you tell it to. And that's a big one. All right, guys, Around the House will return after these important messages. Don't go anywhere. We've got a lot more to talk about in our spring home maintenance checklist.
If I could dream.
Is your website losing you money instead of making it? Slow load times, outdated design, or a clunky mobile experience could be driving those customers away. At SiteHypeDesigns.com, we turn bad websites into high-performing, customer-winning machines. Our expert designers create sleek, fast, and SEO-optimized sites that don't just look good, they convert visitors into paying customers. Don't let a weak website hold you back. Visit SiteHypeDesigns.com today for a free website audit and discover how we can take your business to the next level. SiteHypeDesigns.com, websites that work as hard as you do.
For our Around the House listeners, use promo code ERICG for a free website audit and a free half-hour consultation call. Attention, Around the House fans. We've got some exciting news. Our website just got a major upgrade thanks to the pros at SiteHypeDesigns.com. Now, it's easier than ever to catch up on episodes, find expert home improvement tips, and connect with us. Head over to AroundTheHouseOnline.com and check out the fresh new look. It's your ultimate home for everything around the house. AroundTheHouseOnline.com, built for homeowners, designed for you.
Hey, this is Ron Keel, the Metal Cowboy from Keel, the Ron Keel Band and Steeler. We are rocking Around the House with Eric G.
Raise your fist!
Welcome back to the Around the House show. This is where we help you get the most out of your home through information and education. Thanks for joining us. If you're hearing us on the radio, we do appreciate you tuning in on the Talk Media Network, as well as other streaming sites, and as well as the podcast, which you can hear on any podcast player. So today we're talking about my spring home maintenance checklist. This is that list you should be going around and taking a look around the house. Now, we've been going through a lot of this. We're halfway through this hour of the show. And here's an important one right here that I think is a great one. Go ahead and clean and inspect all window and door screens. Make repairs and replacements as necessary. Do you have that sliding patio door where every time you go to use the screen, it's like junk, or it's not rolling across there? Maybe it's time to either get it back on its track or get a new one or take a look and see if the rollers are damaged. It's so funny how we put up with those things so many times that those things don't work. And I think it's a good time to maintain that door as well. Get in there. If you have a sliding glass door that's maybe one of the old aluminum ones or something like that, get in there with your shop vac. Take it out. Clean out that track. Get it lubed up a little bit. Don't put too much down there, only because if you do, it can attract dust. And I've even seen people not replace those because it's maybe not in the budget, but remove the door, get it out on a flat workbench or some sawhorses with a sheet of plywood or something on it so it's properly supported, and take those wheels and get them cleaned up. I've seen people replace them with different ones and generally try to get them maintained and back. Sometimes they're just too done and you have to replace that door, but sometimes a little maintenance can really get that working correctly and you can get it working so it's not so nasty and sliding around. So that's just another one that we can do as a maintenance thing around the house and get it ready for all that traffic going outside. Maybe you're heading out to the barbecue or whatever. It could always be fun that way. So the next one here is have your air conditioner checked and serviced. So your HVAC system, heat pump, air conditioner, furnace, whatever, should be maintained by a professional each year. And if you're in a area like down south, maybe you're in California, Texas, Arizona, Florida, wherever, where that's running more often than not, maybe twice a year, because you need to make sure that thing is running correctly. The more you maintain it, this is like oil changes in your car. The more you can keep that thing up to speed, the longer you're going to get out of it. And I tell you what, these systems are getting more and more expensive. So you're not just going to go get it replaced for a handful of thousands of dollars. Most of the time, you're talking $8,000 to $12,000 just for a simple replacement out there. Because we're going to more efficient units and it looks like they're trying to ban the old ones. So you can't put in that old 80% unit in there. You're going to have to go to something more tech that's got more computers in it. If you want to get the most life out of it, maintain that. So when was the last time you had your AC or your heat pump serviced? That's a big one. I want to see them out every year. Because I tell you what, every time I've had a major breakdown, it was because I didn't have it serviced. And it was something that they could have easily caught when they were doing their checks the year before. So that maintenance is really key when you're doing this. So seriously, guys, get on a maintenance plan too. Sometimes if you do this correctly, if you talk to the right professional and find out what brand you have, if you have a Train or Carrier or whatever brand you're looking at, get a hold of one of their people that is one of their best service people out there. See if they were the installer, and if not, find the installation company that did it. If they're a licensed place, get on their service plan. If you get on their service plan, usually that will save you money because you pay by the year. And then sometimes if you have a breakdown, that will get you on their preferred list, where some of them will do it. Hey, if you're on our service plan, you have a breakdown, we won't charge you after hours. So there can be some savings there. And feel free to negotiate that with those guys, or at least ask those questions. Now, here's another one here. If you have brick in a fireplace or block in a foundation or anywhere else, check to make sure that you've got those all dialed in, that they're not cracked or mortar or loose joints, any of that stuff. It's a great time to do it. Take a look at that chimney. We were just looking at the chimney here at the beach house, and that thing is going to have to be repointed. I think we can save it, but here's the thing. It had a bad repointing job done in the past, where instead of using mortar, they just went up there with cement and did it instead. So it's got this really weird kind of harder surface on it, which is concrete, and it's going to be a pain to get up there and clean. We might end up actually taking those bricks out and rebuilding that from the roof up, because it's almost to that point where their mortar is so dry and so beaten, and it's been so not maintained for how many decades. Might be easier for us to take it back and go all the way up from there, but that's another project. But if you can get it earlier, these things always get worse, not better. Now, the next one here this is where you need to go around and do that paint check. All those areas. I think everybody knows those little spots in their house where the wind and the rain gets this side of the house wet, or the sun beats on this side of the house. That's usually your first place that you're going to have damage. So check a lot, take a look for that, and make sure you don't have any issues. Now, here's another one that I ran into, and it was something that snuck up on me. I saw around my house here this last week some black that looked like black bumblebees flying around. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Those are not bumblebees. Those are a bee, but what they are is they go in and eat that wet, rotten wood. So they will bore in a pest, and they're actually doing damage. So that means I had two of them in my house. So that means I have a spot in my house someplace where I've got some wet wood that I'm going to have to go on the hunt here for, because maybe they came in through the open door to the sun that we had, but I'm concerned that they made it into the house. And if they made it into the house, that means I probably have a problem that I'm not aware of yet. So that means I have to go on the hunt around my place and poke around and see if I can find any damage. But if you see those things in the house, when you're getting things in the house, that tells you they're cutting in someplace and you don't have it as sealed up as you think you do. So take a look at that. I could have a major problem that I'm not aware of yet. And I got a couple ideas, but I got to get up on the ladder and on the roof and do that. Now, one other thing you're starting to see that's getting much more affordable, people, when you're getting on the roof like that, is I just went out and did it. I'm going to be putting this in on a future episode here, is installing a harness system up on my roof and making sure that we got that taken care of. And I'm going to be using the harness up there, being a lot safer, because the last thing I want to do is come off this roof. So make that one of your spring projects. About $100 for the set. You can buy the permanent mount pieces up there for pretty affordable, and then you're good to go. So something to think about when you're trying to get around the house up there on the roof and you're doing it. If you're a DIYer or even a professional, it's nice to have a place to tie off to. All right, next one here is make sure you're examining all the trim, which is on that painted surface, making sure all the window trim and stuff is around and that's not damaged. And anytime, we talked a little bit about it earlier, but I want to make sure that the caulking is dialed in. Any inside corners, all that stuff. If you're going to do a paint job this year, take the time, take the old caulk out. Make sure you leave room. And here's one little trick that I learned from my friends over at Sashco, and we talked about this in a previous segment. With Sashco, you want to have that stuff cleaned out really well because they have that big stretch caulk that I like using. It's a latex caulk, but it really stretches and it really works well. But if you're using that caulk, you want to have a little bit bigger of a gap, because when you have more material there, it gives you more room to actually expand and contract. So clean it out. Make sure you get all that stuff out of there if you're doing that painting job this spring, and make sure you do it. It'll last longer by giving a little bit more room to stretch. If it's a little tiny here, that's almost the worst case scenario. You just need to have enough for it to get in there. Like 3/16 of an inch is probably your best, because that gives that space to expand and contract while you're tackling this project. So any old windows, if you've got broken or cracked glass, damaged screens, storm windows, or like my house where I have 3 aluminum windows now that have seals that are failed. So now I've got moisture in them. That tells me I've got a lot of window projects to do this next year, which is going to be my challenge to get those. Because of course they're the ones that are higher up or anything else, but that's how it goes. We'll be doing some window swap outs this year, which is going to be a lot of fun. But that will be those projects that we're going to tackle. Now, the next one here is really important, and this is something I want you to take some time on. This is a cracked foundation. And cracking in concrete is almost a guarantee, but I've got some secrets that you can do to make sure that you've got those dialed in so you're really good to go. Because a crack will seem scary for people, or it could be a sign of a much more expensive problem that you need to repair. So these are things I want to make sure you get this dialed in, because this is one of those things that can go from a $3,000 fix to a $30,000 fix or a $100,000 fix, depending on what happened. And I'll give you those secrets just as soon as Around the House returns. Don't go anywhere. Are you a contractor, landscaper, or small business owner? Are you tired of renting or pulling that worn-out trailer to the job site? Is that really the best look for your company? It's time to up your game and check out the trailers from Summit Trailer. If you want the highest quality trailer you can own, they are proudly made right here in Oregon with a dealer network all along the West Coast. What I love about my Summit Trailer is that it's a dump trailer that was designed to work. I can load it up without having to worry about if it's going to be able to lift the load, and it pulls like a dream. This was built to work. So it doesn't matter if you want a dump trailer like mine or a deck over flatbed, tilt bed, or utility trailer. They got a trailer that'll fit your needs. Invest in your business with something you'll feel proud of, pulling up to any job site or your next project. Check out the best trailer in the West at summittrailermfg.com. Check out the dealer locator and find your nearest dealer at summittrailermfg.com. Hey, it's Eric G. with Around the House. Are you looking to grow your business? Need a spokesperson for your company? Maybe an MC for an upcoming trade show? Or maybe you want to up your game and shoot some promotional videos? My team of experts would love to chat with you. Head to AroundTheHouseOnline.com and fill out the Contact Us form, and we'll set something up. Thanks for listening to Around the House.
Show. Now drinking down, people, it's time to go. It's that time again. It's last call.
to the Around the House show. This is where we help you get the most out of your home through information and education. Hey, if you have questions about the show, or if you want to get a copy of this spring home maintenance checklist we're talking about today, head over to aroundthehouseonline.com, send me a message, and I will send you a PDF copy so you have it to walk around your house. All right, guys, we've been talking about this maintenance checklist, and we're getting towards the bottom here of the outside stuff. And we were talking when we went to break about the foundation and making sure that you've got that inspected and really checking for cracks or damage. And here's what happens. If you have clay soil outside and you go through the spring and it's wet, or the winter and it's wet and it's dry, clay loves to expand and contract. Think of that kitchen sponge that gets wet and it shrinks up. So what you want to do is really keep an eye on that foundation, because that house is moving. Depending on how much clay is there, it can move at different rates. So you want to make sure and look for cracks. If you see a little crack, it's just a really small hairline crack, you can jump online and buy those basically they're crack gauges. You can put it on there and mark it and keep an eye on it. Take pictures with your phone and look at it season to season. Cracks that are simple are easy to repair with carbon fiber these days. You can actually go across and embed these crack lock staples or use carbon fiber, and there's ways to keep that tied together, so it's not really that big a deal. When you start getting to be a big deal is when you get multiple cracks and they move around year after year, and as they grind together, they loosen more material, which means you've got more problems. And those get to be bigger and bigger, and when those things really start to separate, that's when you get into problems, and especially with these older homes. And if you're getting into the older homes, like we have a group of homes here that were built in the 30s to 50s, and really a lot in the 30s, where they didn't wash the sand correctly and they were just using sand in the concrete. And these things, I could literally take a screwdriver and dig very simply, like it was pumice, right through the exterior wall. And in that kind of situation, it gets to be a much bigger fix, but you can go on there and skim coat and things like that and protect it and get more life out of it. But sometimes you have to do a foundation replacement, which doesn't mean you have to jack the house up anymore. There's no need generally for that unless you're trying to get more space. Really what you can do is, if you got a basement down below, you can do a new interior foundation on the inside and leave the other one there. You'll lose a foot or so in the inside of the space, but something you won't have to jack the house up, and generally you can live in it while that project is happening. So keep an eye on that stuff. And if you do have cracks and you're going to bring somebody in, don't go just hire that foundation contractor. What I recommend is actually bringing in it's important, bring in a structural engineer and then go to your foundation contractor with their plan, because pay them to draw up a plan of what needs to be done to repair it, so you have an engineered solution, and then bring in the people to say, okay, this is what I need to have done, and have them run numbers so you have the right thing there. So that's a big one. Anything more than a hairline, have somebody take a peek at it and make sure you're good. All right, guys, let's go inside here. So this is where, when we get inside, the first thing I want you to do, it's one of the biggest safety ones, test smoke alarms and carbon monoxide detectors, and make sure that if they do take batteries, that you're good to go. Nowadays with newer homes, you're seeing 10-year batteries, and you're seeing 10-year batteries with hardwire. And take a look at those. Every single smoke detector and carbon monoxide detector will have a build date or a use by date. Make sure if it's over 10 years old that you're replacing it with something new and you're putting the right ones in. I'm really liking some of the smart ones now that I can watch, that I can silence. It'll warn me that if by the kitchen that, hey, you're getting some smoke in here, and I can go, that's me cooking on the grill and the fan's not getting it up. That's where you can start making it nice. You don't have to get up on a ladder to turn it off. You can use your phone. That stuff's pretty cool. And a lot of those have those carbon monoxide and smoke detectors built in together. So something big right there, making sure those are good. And if they're old, swap them out. It's a cheap fix. All right. If you've got that sump pump down in the basement or crawl space, clean it out. Make sure that you clean any screens and things like that and make sure that it's working. Get down there and test it real quick. Make sure it's cycling on. And if it's time to replace it, do it. Take a look at if there's some great ones out there with battery backups and that kind of thing. If it's something that you don't want to do, call up your local foundation company that deals with this stuff, and they can come out and service it for you and make sure it's working correctly. Here's the gross one. It's never my favorite, but it's a good one. Clean out the hair from drains and sinks, tubs and showers. Use a drain cleaner approved for the materials for your plumbing system if necessary. I do not use general drain cleaners in the house. I would much rather come remove it. If you're going to get some soap scum removers and stuff, that's okay. But so many of those things will eat through the pipes, damage fittings, all that kind of stuff. And I have removed all of that stuff probably 5 or 6 years ago from my house because I just don't want to use it here. It usually doesn't work right. If it does, it's really eating up the pipes. And 3, when it doesn't work right, now you're working with drain cleaner all over your tools where you're trying to snake it out or take it apart. And by the way, if you call that plumber, they might charge you more. Many do because you've already used that drain cleaner and they have much more cleaning to do on their tools. And it's a safety hazard for other people working on it. So not a big fan of the drain cleaners for the liquids and that stuff. If you're going to use one of the foaming ones that'll clean the soap scum out of a shower or something, I get it. Just make sure that you do it safely and follow those directions. That's a big one. All right. Next one here. If you have any putty around those wood panes, make sure that those are all glazed correctly and you're good to go there on all those wood windows. Now, the next one here is something that we always forget to do, but it's a good time to do it. Go around and test all of your GFCI, your ground fault circuit interrupters in your house. Many times those have a lifespan of about 10 years before they start clicking off early. Maybe he's clicking that hairdryer in the bathroom and all of a sudden that thing clicks off. Try replacing that first. When they wear out, they click off a little early. So maybe you just need to put a new one in there. So test those, make sure they're working. And you can get little plug-in tests. You can buy those at the hardware store. You plug in, test to make sure the ground's working, and you can hit the button. It'll test to see if it sets it off. And that's not a bad thing. So that's a good one right there. Next up, crawl through that crawl space or basement. Look for rodent pest damage. Inspect for water intrusion, cracks, leaking pipes, all that stuff. Is the insulation where it's supposed to be? Is everything where it is? That's a big one. Next up here, do that mold inspection around your house. Basements, crawl space, attic, closets, bathrooms, around windows. Because here's what happens. If you have let's say a rodent got into your attic space up there and disconnected or put a damage in that flex ducting that goes from your vent fan in your bathroom to the exterior of the house, a crack or a hole in that, and all of a sudden you're putting moist air in the attic and it doesn't leave, and now you've got a mold issue that can be huge. So that's a big one right there. So make sure that you're doing that. And that mold, when in doubt, call up my friend like Carolyn Blazowski, America's Healthy Home Expert, and she can have mold tests done for your house. She can send off a kit so you can do some air testing and do the research on that, guys. This is a serious health issue. If you look around your house and you're like, wow, everybody seems to be fighting bad allergies and colds, maybe you've got a problem there. Maybe you've got a mold issue that's causing those health issues. It could be inside your house. It could be at your work. It could be anywhere else, but make sure you've got that dialed in. A simple test can tell you what's going on and where you need to start looking. A lot of places you'll find mold too. If you got boxes stacked up in the basement up against the exterior wall, pull those away and see. So many times you'll pull those away and you'll see like a carpet of mold on the wall behind it. There's your health hazard, and properly dispose of it. And do not go out and get the bleach. Use the right cleaners and stuff that are rated for mold. Put the bleach away when you're dealing with mold unless it's a very hard surface. I wouldn't use it. Just use the right cleaners like Concrobium or any one of those. They will work well for you. All right, next one here. If you've got an ERV system, an energy recovery ventilator, make sure you test and make sure that the filters are working on that, and that should be serviced every year as well. But a lot of those, if you've got a newer home where you have an ERV or an HRV, make sure that you change those filters and you're doing that correctly. So make sure you get that taken care of, because it's not only your heating and cooling system that has it, those will have it as well. And it's a good time to get that range hood cleaned up as well. So that's a big one right there. And the bathrooms, take the cover off, clean the vents out, clean the fans out, get out a can of the computer spray air cans, and you can really blow stuff out, put some safety glasses on, get up there at the shop vac and see if you can get that cleaned up. Those things get so much dust and dirt up there if you're not careful. That's an easy fix. And then make sure you get your garage door adjusted. Make sure it's working well. And then here's the last one here that I really want you to go through. Service those appliances. Clean the filter on your front load washing machine. Yes, it has a filter. Read the directions on it online and make sure you got that taken care of. Use the self-cleaning feature on your oven. Check your water filter. Vacuum the coils on the refrigerator. Run some cleaner through the dishwasher and the front load washing machine and the top load washing machine. Get some more machine cleaners for those, and you'll be good to go. All right, guys, we're running out of time here. I got to run. We got to get ready for the next hour of Around the House. Thanks for tuning in. If you want to get this list, head over to Around the House online, and I can email it to you. All you have to do is ask. Thanks for tuning in to Around the House.
Somewhere unseen and undiscovered, anywhere beyond the mean. Life is a love song, let's be lovers. We're all over the radio. Take my hand, I know where to go. All over the radio with you.
Are you ready for a deep dive into the future of home building? Hey, it's Eric G. from Around the House. This week, March 15th, on the Around the House show, we sit down with Champion Homes to tackle some of the biggest challenges in housing today. From affordability to healthier living spaces, they reveal how factory-built homes are revolutionizing the way we live. Find out how Champion Homes is making homeownership more accessible and solving housing problems one home at a time. Don't miss this must-listen episode. Tune into your favorite podcast app or visit AroundTheHouseOnline.com. To find out more about how Champion Homes is changing housing, visit them at championhomes.com.